I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. And we'll start with a moment of silence, please. We'll start with a moment of silence. Moments of silence, please.
Did someone see it?
Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll take time to look at the agenda. We'll start with the police department, fire, corrections, MARTA, code enforcement, public works, and solid waste. Then we'll go to presentations. And then we'll hear from our elected officials. We won't have any neighborhood association comments tonight. We'll talk about community engagement, and then we'll go into our licensing and variances. I'll entertain a motion from the floor to accept the agenda as printed. Can I get someone to second?
I second it.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? Motion carries. And now we'll review our minutes. They're kind of lengthy, so I'll give you time to just look over them. Okay, I'll entertain a motion from the floor to accept our minutes as so printed. Can someone second?
Second.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? Okay, motion carries. I'll start out with corrections, Officer Bob. And for sake of time, you will only have 2 minutes tonight. If you have any questions, Officer Ball will be glad to step outside and entertain the questions.
Good evening, Sergeant Ball, Civil Department of Corrections. I was serving go beyond the walls of the jail. A lot of people think that we just hold people there until they court date, until they serve their time. But we go beyond the walls of the jail. We're known nationally for our new PAC 3 program. It's a re-entry program that allows incarcerated inmates that have 2 years or less on their sentence to be able to be in this program. They get a job with the city, Waterworks at this moment in part. And during this time, they're able to earn a paycheck. Whatever Waterworks get paid, they get paid. They be able to have a savings account, be able to pay child support from this program, that's the money that they get. We've had several inmates that leave the program that have bought their houses, bought homes when they left the program. They take classes to better their relationship with their kids, being better parents. They get a lot of educational classes during this time at the jail. It's like they're in a dorm. We take them to work, we pick them up, and they be able to have passes at time once they're in the program, have started work. We also, Hosea helps beat the hunger. We have opened the doors of our facility where they come in during Christmas, during Thanksgiving, Martin Luther King's birthday, and they're there in our facility, and we're helped to assist make the meals. Matter of fact, we start cooking over 5,000 turkeys in our jail, like 2,000 pans of dressing in the jail. And we not only do that, we feed the senior citizens every week, over 125 senior citizen meals every week. Sometimes they have a special catering, we fill that catering. We provide
5 seconds.
we provide reading assistance with elementary school.
Time.
We
Thank
do
you.
a lot.
Thank you very much.
Y'all get smart.
Police Department.
All right, so, good evening. I'm gonna try to be real quick since I only have 2 minutes. My name is Captain Rodney Woody. I'm the new Assistant Zone Commander for Zone 1. So Major Hampton is my boss. He is obviously the major, but I've been over here about 2 months. Happy to be here. I've spent 24 years on the department, worked all over the city, so assigned out here now. My previous few years, I've worked on the Super Bowl planning and also the college football championship planning over the last couple of years. So just to talk really quick about crime, so the NPU here covers several different beats in Zone 1, 105, 107, 108, 109, and 110, which covers several neighborhoods. A few of them are Center Hill, Dixie Hills, Grove Park, Westlake. So what we're struggling a bit with right now is aggravated assaults. We had 10. This is over the last 30 days. Burglaries, we had 13. We had only had 3 larcenies from vehicle and 3 auto thefts, so that's really good. So we did make a really good arrest on Sunday night. We arrested an individual that we think may be responsible for a lot of burglaries on our 2 high beats, which is 108 and 109, which is the Dixie Hills and Center Hills area. We arrested this individual, and we haven't had a burglary on in either of those 2 areas over the last week and a half. So we hope that that's going to curb the tide of some of the burglaries that are happening. A lot of the aggravated assaults, some of those are domestic related, so there's, they're hard to do anything about those, but we're trying to, work on open air aggravated assaults and things like that. Last thing I'll leave you with, because I'm probably running right out of time, is we've got 3 new officers to the zone this week. They start on Thursday, and then on December the 12th, there's another class coming out. The academy's cranking them out, so this is going to help all of us to have more officers in the zone. December 12th class comes out, then another class comes out in February, and the classes are growing, so it's going to help us a lot out here in the zone. So maybe we'll see some more. We'll see some foot beat, we'll see some bike patrols, we'll see some things like that coming here in the near future.
Thank you very much. Can you entertain questions outside? Marta?
Good evening, Martin Finn, Marta Police. Some of the stuff I want to talk about real quick is the crime we're having at Marta and what we're doing to combat that crime. We've had a lot of snatch thefts off the train, mostly committed by juveniles. So when you're on the train, keep your valuables in your pocket, keep them in your hands. Especially if you're sitting by the doors, please don't have your phones out. What they do is they take advantage, or they have time. The trains are coming into the station, and they'll snatch that phone and get out those doors before they close. So I said, to combat that, just try to keep your phones, your valuables in your pockets when you're on the train. Also combating that, we've put out more bike officers. We've also put out, we're started this week with more train patrols. We're trying to fill every single train with officers, especially during our rush hours and during the main hours of the day. We also have a CSAF. They all see crime going on. You guys can report that crime either anonymously, or you can report it with your name if you want contact made with an officer. Obviously, most of the time, to have that crime prosecuted, we do need a witness. Other than that, just whenever you're attending events, you're parking your vehicles at MARTA or you're going to daily work, please, before you walk away from your vehicles, keep it, make sure it's secured, make sure all your valuables are out of sight. Our entering auto crimes are way down, but we have had 3 mopeds taken in the last couple months. So if you do drive a moped at MARTA, please make sure it's secure. Go buy one of those real good. They're U-shaped, a steel bar U-shaped lock. I'm not sure the name of them. But those seem to work better than just a rope lock or a chain. Other than that, you guys have any questions for me? All right, thank you. You also have a great night.
Thank you. Code enforcement. Good evening, everyone. And if you have any concerns, there's some concern cards on the back. You can write your information down on it, and we'll make sure that the appropriate party comes in.
Good evening, I'm Officer Clark, Code Enforcement, and I'm giving you an update of NPU-J. In NPU-J, from July to September, I had almost 400 cases, active cases in NPU-J. So with that being said, you see I'm getting pretty busy, and I appreciate you calling, texting, and letting me know it's something that you need me to address. So, to give you a kind of rundown, I only had like 42 highly hazardous cases, which are mostly open and vacant homes or homes with the roof falling in or something. I only had 442 of those, sorry. And then the other 341 cases came in through property maintenance, with probably overgrowth, vehicles and things like that. So, we are trying to get the neighborhood clean. And we're trying to ask that everyone work with us. Don't get upset when you get your notice or citations because you didn't do what we ask of you. So, and I try to work with you, so if you need more time, don't wait till the day of when I'm there, because I have to get approval through someone higher than I. So they try to wait and see how much progress we've made, but, don't wait till the day of and say, oh, I need more time, because then she's not going to approve it for me to be able to give you more time. More than likely. But and we also have quite a few cases that's been in the in-realm. So if you kind of riding around through the area, you kind of see that there's been quite a bit of demo process going on around. So we've torn down the city and put things in this property and got approval for properties to be torn down. So I hope you're kind of satisfied and you see the improvement that's coming in your neighborhoods, and you are enjoying a better view, keeping it better view. All right, you can see me outside.
Okay, thank you. Committee reports, 2 minutes. Public safety. Economic development.
I'll speak on Ms. Myrna's behalf. She isn't present.
Okay.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's loud. Good evening, everybody. I'm Leah LaRue. I am on the Economic Development Committee. I'm one of many, and the only reason I'm standing up is because we had a pretty awesome meeting a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, and I just wouldn't want that to not be announced here. In the last NPU-J meeting, a number of you raised concerns about the accident on Hollowell involving JJ, the young teenager who's a student here who was killed when he was hit by a car on his way to school. And a number of you in the last meeting asked what we were doing about that, and the Economic Development Chair did something really amazing. She pulled together representatives from every single NPU that touches Hollowell, from Northside Drive all the way up to 285. There are 5 NPUs that were all present. We had 2 council members present. We had 2 state representatives present, about 4 representatives from Georgia Department of Transportation, the ARC, city representatives were there, and a whole bunch of other people came out to that meeting. Marta, somebody said Marta, thank you. Marta was present as well, thank you. And your neighbors, all of us, we were there, and it wasn't a meeting for naught. We put together a strategy. There will be a public meeting for everyone to attend on November 19th. And I think we're also planning a community kind of get out there and talk about it event along Hollow, but more information about that will be coming soon. So I just wanted to give an update on that since I know people were really concerned. Thank you.
The 19th meeting is where?
I'm sorry, that's a good question. The meeting on November 19th is at Kip Woodson Academy, Woodson Park, I think. Oh, you know what, it's not confirmed, that's right, thank you. It wasn't confirmed, that's why I didn't tell the where. But when we know, we'll make sure the word gets out so that everybody is aware. Oh, there she is. Is the meeting location confirmed for the 19th?
No, not yet.
Okay, so when we know, we'll make sure everyone knows. This is the person that gets all the credit. I just gave the report that she wasn't here.
Health and Wellness Committee, 2 minutes.
Hello, everybody. I'm Usma Khan. I am the chairperson for Public Health Committee at NPU-J. This month being the breast cancer month, to honor that, we've been going around to different churches, as I had explained last time. And okay, as I explained last time, however, so we've already gone to 3-4 churches. Furthermore to go to honor the month of October. We are spreading the awareness, the education, the importance of breast health, and along with the resources that are present in the community. Alongside that, we have formed a huge collaborative ground with Susan G. Coleman. They are offering to offer free mammograms for NPU-J. It's coming, it's in the pipeline right now. I'm working on the finalization of it. On November the 6th, we have, we call it Pink Prayer. And thanks to True Light Baptist Church, I don't know if Dr. Elegant is here yet or not, but he mentioned he will be. Thank you so much. The Pink Prayers are going to be hosted at True Light Baptist Church. Senator James is attending and many others will be as well. All the collaborative organizations and their leads are going to be there. I'm hoping so far they have confirmed. And we welcome everybody to please join. I have these flyers over here, and the contact number is a little cut off on the bottom, so I will just write it down. It is Dr. Calvin Ellison, who is leading the church initiative with us for breast cancer. Please contact him if you guys have any questions. My information you guys have, feel free to reach me. My 2 minutes are over? No. Oh, well, I guess, any questions, let me know. I'm going to start putting these flyers on the table. That's it?
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion from the floor to make some adjustments to the agenda to allow the public officials to speak now, and then we'll go basically changing number 6 to number 5 and number 5 to number 6. I'll entertain a motion from the floor.
Make a motion for the change in the agenda.
Can someone second?
Second.
All in favor?
What is the purpose?
The elected officials have several NPUs to go to, and they asked me to just change up.
Thank you.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. We'll have Dustin Hillis up first, and then we'll have Mr. Antonio, Councilman Antonio Brown. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for moving us up to the meeting.
We're still at 2 minutes.
Okay.
I am one. I have 2 MPUs. Me and my assistant Alan usually split time and rotate as who goes J and who goes D, but we've got a lot of stuff to talk about at both, so we are splitting that. I'm going to vote. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is following up on Officer Parham and the code enforcement cases. One, thank her for her staying busy out there. Maybe one of the reasons she's staying busy. If she likes staying busy, you're welcome. If not, I apologize, because we've been doing a lot of details out on the streets in the District 9 part of Grove Park and Center Hill. We do have about 15 plus demolitions coming up. And just quickly going through those. We have about 8 in Grove Park, about 7 in Center Hill. There's a hearing on Thursday to get demolition orders for 710 South Grand and 537 Mark II. And the ones that have already been awarded or are soon to be awarded next month are 510 Elmwood, 625 and 657 Eleanor, 899 Center Hill Avenue, 565 Commercial Avenue, 504 Woodlawn. No, we're back. 818 Peyton, 869 Oak Street, 754 South Grand, 900 Hall, 946 and 958 Hollywood, and I think that is it. Maybe a few more though that were not on that list. Staying on the topic of code enforcement, I introduced legislation at yesterday's council meeting that will officialize a program that's been going on for a few years now, unofficially through the solicitor's office. The solicitor's office called the DEV or DEV program for code enforcement. DEV stands for Disabled, Elderly, and Veterans. And so basically what that is, if you are in your home, an owner-occupied home, and you're disabled, elderly, 65 plus, or a veteran, then you get a judicial diversion, and the money in the program pays for whatever repairs are needed to your home to bring it into compliance. So that officializes that program, and it also gets a dedicated funding source. The funding source is going to be all the other code enforcement properties, investor-owned properties, et cetera, that don't qualify for that program that end up getting fined in court. That's how this program is going to be funded. So that'll be in the committee that I chair, the Public Safety Committee, and also the Councilmember Brown sits on. That'll be in front of us next Tuesday. And then if favorable, it'll be approved at the next council meeting. Following up on the Hollowell Parkway issues, that has been on my radar for many years, even when I was working for Councilmember Moore, now President Moore. Historically, GDOT has been very anti-pedestrian, anti-bike. We did have a meeting on October 3rd, actually a site visit, where we went out to Hollowell near the Johnny B. Moore Towers with GDOT. Councilmember Dickens. Councilmember Dickens was there, President Moore, the renewed team, APD, and about 5 or 6 people from GDOT. We did traffic counts. They seem to have changed their tune. Unfortunately, possibly because of JJ's death, and that's on top of the other deaths that have occurred on Hollowell. It's a very dangerous road, and the city can't do anything without GDOT's approval, of course, since it's a state highway. But I'm confident we'll get a crosswalk, at least one. I'm really demanding and hoping for 3 on that 1 mile section between Holmes and Wood Street. There is absolutely no crosswalks. So that was October 3rd. They take about 60 days to do their study. And then, of course, with any governmental construction project, it'll take probably up to a year to actually see if it is approved construction. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on was I did secure the final $1 million in funding needed for the construction of the new Fire Station 22. That'll be on Hollywood at North Eugenia and Grove Park, and we're looking to have a groundbreaking probably the first quarter of 2020. So looking forward to that. And if you have any questions or anything, I'll be out in the hallway. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, good evening, everyone. I'm probably going to go beyond the 2 minutes, so if anyone from the floor is willing to make a motion to extend the time, I would be greatly appreciative. So there's a lot to talk about, right? Today officially makes 6 months that I've been on City Council. I started April 22nd, that's when I was sworn in. We have 6 NPUs that we represent within the district, so I try to come to every NPU at least twice in a period. So this would be, I know, I came to you all first when I was first sworn in and elected. We've been able to do a lot of great things within the 6 months time frame. And I just want to talk about some of the things that we've been able to accomplish I'm not sure how many of you were able to make the town hall, but we discussed a lot of projects. We're working on bringing in a grocery store into District 3. We're in conversations right now with Lidl, which is a grocery provider. We're trying to find a location within the district. They understand that right now we're dealing with the food desert, and they're willing to work with us on the location, so that conversation is ongoing. That's something that's extremely important to me, understanding that when I was running for Atlanta City Council, it was one of the items that the community members within the entire district expressed interest in. We just recently passed legislation on full council for the Blight-Free Advisory Board. This is super important. I think there's a lot of miseducation that happened around this piece of legislation, and I really wanted to come and speak to you all about it because the miseducation caused some residents, specifically in Dixie Hills, to come to the council meeting and speak on the specific legislation, and they did not speak on it correctly. And I got several comments from other council members asking, did the Dixie Hills residents that spoke on it not read the legislation? So I think it's important that when we're coming as a community to speak on legislation, we read it and we understand it, and we don't just come because someone is motivating us to come to speak on it. And if you ever have an issue or a question about legislation, please call my office. We're an open book. I'm here because of you all. You know, I'm in this position because you all elected me in this position. You trusted me to do what's right for each and every one of you. And that is of the utmost importance to me. So I'm never going to act in any ill manner against the community or the people. So the blight-free legislation, what it does is it puts a board in place to evaluate the most egregious vacant and abandoned properties in District 3. And some of you knows a lot of these properties because if you go on Verbena in Dixie Hills, there's a slew of them that have been sitting vacant and abandoned for over 10 years, where women are being raped behind, where crimes are being committed. These things are happening every day. These are the properties that we're addressing. We're not displacing residents. Several residents came up saying that the legislation was saying we're displacing residents. No, I would never allow legislation to pass through council that would displace community. I don't believe in that. I'm not a supporter of it, and I will speak against it every time I see it. So this legislation puts a board in place, and it forces these landowners that own these vacant and abandoned properties to develop them, to contribute them to affordable housing. The whole purpose of this legislation is to contribute to the Affordable Housing Digest. We want to make sure that because it's a crisis right now in this city, not just in my district, but in this city as a whole, we need to start encouraging landowners to develop their property and turn it into affordable housing. So this legislation puts a time period of 60 days. They have 30 days to respond to the notification that's mailed out to them. And they have to respond with a development plan, with a start and end date for their development plan. And they have to present it before this board. And based on that development plan, we will provide them technical assistance if they need it, and we are willing to partner them with whoever they need to be partnered with to develop that property. In addition to that, if they do not respond, a second notice will go out to them in 30 days. That notice will inform them that you have 30 more days to respond to address this property. If you do not do so, this board will have the authority to make a recommendation to full council and the solicitor's office to file an abatement petition with the municipal courts. The abatement petition will allow for the demolition of the property. In addition to the demolition of the property, a lien will be placed on that property. And then the solicitor's office will move forward in processing a foreclosure on that lien so that we can take that property and contribute it to the Affordable Housing Digest. So that is...
Councilman Brown, you're almost at 6 minutes now. Can you hurry up and wrap it up?
Okay, well, Flora, Karen, can you get me the list just so I'm clear, please, on it? And I want to say that everyone that's on this board, they have a specific purpose to serve, which is to ensure that as we continue to move forward with this work with the blight, that we're ensuring that the proper resources are at the table so that when we convert these abandoned and vacant properties, they are going towards affordable housing and nothing else. So I want to make sure, Karen, while you're pulling up the list, I'm going to move forward so I can talk about some of the other things.
Councilman Brown,
Yes, sir.
how many members of the board are from the community?
There's one resident that's listed on the board, and we did that intentional. And the reason being is because we wanted to keep this board unbiased, and we wanted to ensure that the folks that were on the board held the technical position on the board to contribute to the legislation and ensure that we're able to contribute to the Affordable Housing Digest that this legislation speaks to.
One more question. Sure. So who made the decision on the other members of the board? Like why? Because I've seen the board and outside of the city and this county, all the members of the board come from basically the West Side tag. Those members within that tag.
We didn't pull the board from the West Side tab. We pulled the board based on the need for this specific legislation to ensure, as we continue to deal with the blight in District 3, that we have the right people at the table that can contribute to the conversation, but not only contribute to it, that have the technical assistance and the resources to ensure that we're doing the right thing. Because at the end of the day, I'll be damned if we form a board that's not going to represent the true interests of the people. And I'll also be damned if I allow the board to be manipulated by political interests in the city of Atlanta. I won't have it. So this board was specifically configured to address those needs because I understand how politically divided this district has become when it comes to political interests vested, especially in economic development in the city of Atlanta.
Right. So all of those issues lie east of Lowry Street. That's why I'm asking because these board members represent primarily the majority interests of the entire city of Atlanta. Meaning these are individuals that work in this space every day within the entire city of Atlanta. So this was not just a list of people that were curated for a specific region of the district. These are people that can impact the entire district. We have 16 communities in District 3. And these communities, some of them don't have blight, some of them do have blight. But we want to make sure that we have the right people at the table that are going to be able to move this forward. So I'm going to go over the list that we have. We have the City of Atlanta Office of Code Enforcement. We have the Atlanta Housing Authority. We have the City of Atlanta Chief Housing Officer, Terry Lee. We have the City of Atlanta Department of Enterprise Asset Management. We have the City of Atlanta Office of Housing and Community Development. We have the Atlanta Police Foundation. We have the Atlanta Development Authority, DBA Invest Atlanta. We have Westside Future Fund. We have Fulton County Tax Commissioner's Office. We have a resident of District 3. We have the West Atlanta Business Alliance. And we have the District 3 council member. Those are all the positions that fill this board. And as you can tell, and then we have 3 ex officio members that don't have a voting right on the board. And that's the Atlanta Fulton County Land Bank Authority, the Historic Preservation Commission, and the Municipal Court of Atlanta. So I think this is extremely important for you all to understand this was taken from a very unbiased perspective with no political interest vested in the authority of moving this board forward.
Excuse me, since we took so much time on that, I actually, if y'all don't mind, I have a question about it too, because I'm sorry, I should know, I don't know.
No, it's okay.
New to me. And I think everybody here that knows me knows that community is number one for me, that's
Absolutely.
my priority, so I'm looking at this list, and I heard Derek's point about the community only having 1 seat on this board. And I also heard mention to the West Side TAG. I'm a little confused as to where the West Side TAG comes into play here. So that's my first question.
So just to answer that real quickly, I think he was referring to the West Side tab because the West Side Future Fund is on the board. And the reason why the West Side Future Fund is on the board is because they provide technical assistance and resources, and they're one of the only entities in the city of Atlanta that have funding that can contribute to the development of affordable housing that's on the west side of Atlanta.
So is this funded by the West Side TAD? Like, what's the West Side TAD have to do with this? Well, he just said,
On the legislation, it says one of the funding sources was the West Side TAD, but the other funding sources are unclear.
So the funding source is not the West Side TAD, it's actually the Blight Remediation Project. That was a piece of legislation that was funded through the West Side TAD. So actually, the Blight Remediation Project is a project that funds $500,000 towards the demolition of properties in specific communities on the west side, which is through the West Side TAD. So it's not funded by the West Side TAD. The legislation supports the Blight Remediation Project that includes English Avenue, Vine City, Ashview Heights, and the AUC Center. So this is a separate funding source, so we don't have to leverage resources for other communities on those communities. We can leverage the resources they already have in their communities.
My second question, thank you for that,
Yes.
that makes sense. My second question was just that that list that you just gave of the people on the board, I assume that they all bring some sort of technical expertise to the table in a way that community members would not.
Correct, and they come from an unbiased perspective, because what we were afraid of putting together a blight board, we didn't want community members to just advocate for their own communities, because this is 16 communities that we represent within this. So I'm so sorry, I want to talk about some other things that are super important. Oh, yes, sir, I'm sorry.
And then 15 minutes too.
I think the challenge to you is a question of clarity.
Yes, sir.
And you keep saying we, not defining we that developed it. And I think the question is, how was it developed? Who put together the legislation? And was the community involved in the putting together of the blight? Not so much the objective and the purpose, that is the idea. But the community is saying, we had no idea that you were doing it.
So just for clarity, the community was very involved in the process. Not only did we get support letters from every NPU, and not only did we go to every NPU, but we went to this NPU, and Perrin not only spoke with Kiana in regards to this, but we asked, were there any questions that we could answer? There was no response. In addition to
Yes, I did, Antonio. I got a letter like maybe 5 to 7 days before.
I don't want us to get into the weeds, but we did communicate to inform the NPUs. We did it for every NPU. The community was at the table when we put this together. I don't just go and do things. I ensure that the voice of the community is always reflecting in the work that we do, because if it's not, then it defeats the purpose of even doing it. So I ensure community is always a part of this. So I want to move forward to some positive. We have, the blight is a positive for us, especially in District 3, but the Community Loan Fund, we just passed legislation. The administration just put $500,000 towards the Community Loan Fund. In addition to that, we just received a donation from Wells Fargo for an additional $100,000, and we plan on receiving $400,000 more to total $1 million for the Community Loan Fund. That's going to fund credit disadvantaged small businesses in the city of Atlanta, where there's a 3% fixed interest rate, there's a 3-month deferment on the first payment, and you can use up to $30,000 of the $50,000 that you can borrow to pay down your personal debt that you leverage to sustain your business. That's powerful for our small businesses. So this is a huge win for us to be able to put this forward. We're doing a community mural project where we're putting local artists to work. Perrin will be getting that out into the communities. So we've been able to do a lot of great things. I want to talk to you about 2 more things, and I'm getting off, I promise. The Community Engagement Task Force. District 3 is one of the most disenfranchised districts in all 12 of the city council districts. That means the voter participation, the civic participation in the NPUs and the neighborhood associations, there's a huge disenfranchisement that's happening within our civic process where there are residents that feel like they are disenfranchised from the entire process, we created a community engagement task force in which was funded to support a team of folks where we're going to be hiring from within the community, allowing community residents to work to educate other community residents on neighborhood associations, NPUs, their voting rights. We're going to be speaking with convicted felons to tell them their rights for re-engaging in the civic process. This is a huge endeavor that we're going to undertake for one whole year. And we're going to work to increase the voter participation. We're going to work to increase the population at the NPUs and the neighborhood associations. And we're going to be educating residents on everything that they need to know about committee meetings at City Hall, full council meetings, and the importance of your vote. So this is really happening. And I'm going to close with this. I've received a lot of complaints over the last couple of weeks from residents, specifically in this NPU. And the complaints were that they didn't feel like they understood the process around voting in your new body, your new board members. And they didn't understand the process for being able to nominate a person from the floor to be considered to be voted here on this board. They were understanding, they thought they had to accept whoever was selected by the committee that was formed. And I know it was mentioned because I spoke to other residents when I went to inquire. It was mentioned that there was a statement made that you all had the ability to put forth a nomination on the floor to be considered for every position on this board. But I think
we haven't gotten to that. We haven't gotten to that.
I understand that, but I'm just speaking to this. So I think it's important that you all know. I think it's important that you all know you have the ability. I brought a copy of the bylaws, and I really think it's important that you all understand your rights. I think I left the paper on the table.
Behind you on the table.
Oh, right here. Yes, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
So-
I'm so sorry.
No,
I
it's okay.
apologize. I just want to say, since these are important issues that we all need to be aware of, I'm just making a motion that maybe perhaps at a later meeting, we have time to discuss all of this.
Yeah, I just want to say one last thing. The bylaws say the nominating chair appointed by the NPU chair must present a slate of candidates by the regularly held September meeting. Elections of officers shall be held annually at the regular October meeting. Those persons must be present or have submitted in writing acceptance of the nomination to the nomination committee. These bylaws shall not prohibit the nomination of candidates from the floor. So you all have the opportunity to motion to consider another candidate to be considered in the voting on this board. And I want to make sure you know that because several residents called me and they weren't familiar with the process on how to move that forward. So I just personally, as a city council person, it's my responsibility that every voice is heard at our NPUs, and we have the right representation on the board to consider when we're placing our vote today. So I don't know how you all want to handle that because this is not, I'm just a city council person. So I just want to allow you guys to understand.
Okay, thank you. It's on the ballot.
I saw that. I just still wanted to make sure that.
Okay, I'm Gail Mount, Northwest Business Association, and you were saying that there were business loans available?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it just an English Avenue?
No,
in
ma'am.
Vine
It's the
City?
entire city of Atlanta. It's a community loan fund that will be administered by Invest Atlanta. And it will launch January 1st, 2020. It'll be $1 million fund that will fund small businesses up to $50,000.
Yeah, I was reading it, but it said, Vine City.
No, ma'am. It would not say Vine City. It's a citywide program. It's not limited to any community. Anyone can apply for those funds.
Okay, so who do we apply to?
Invest Atlanta. They will have an application process, and it's for credit disadvantaged small businesses. So if you're a small business and you don't have perfect credit, it's okay. Apply for the community loan fund because that's what this was created for, to help you all.
Any special name or just call Invest Atlanta?
Invest Atlanta, everyone knows it, everyone's talking about it. It's a
Okay,
community
thank you.
loan fund. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for that question. Yes, ma'am, Liz.
Will you be available to speak to people that have questions for you outside?
Yes, I will be. And I'm staying for the entire meeting.
Vice Chair, is this the time to ask a question about the election? Because he mentioned something and I have questions about that. Should it wait?
Reverend Thurston is over the election. I don't have the right to speak to anything. Reverend Thurston,
I
do
just
you
want to
want
know, is this the time to ask a question, Reverend?
Actually, we haven't started.
Yeah, we
Okay,
haven't
so
started.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
But any question you have, make sure you ask it at that time.
Yes, sir. We'll
We want to move the meeting on and get to the elections.
Thank you, sir.
All right, City of Atlanta planning presentation time. Ms. Atlanta.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Samantha Terry. I am currently the NPU Program Manager in the Department of City Planning.
And I'm Lauren Kirk, and I am a urban planner on the NPU team for the City of Atlanta.
So we actually had a presentation with visuals and whatnot. However, user error, I'll take the L. We can't show the visuals today, so we're going to talk about a couple of the programs that the Department of City Planning's NPU divisions has coming up. Since you all don't meet in November, we wanted to have it fresh on your mind because these will start kicking off as early as December.
So the first one that I'm going to talk to you about is an education initiative from the NPU team. Our goal is to make sure that everyone has the knowledge available to them to participate effectively in the NPU team. The procedures and policies of the team of the NPU system can be difficult to understand. So this is a series of courses that are going to be taught by experts in the subject matter. For example, Zoning 101, Chair's Orientation. These are programs geared at different groups of people who will have interest in furthering their knowledge. So as I said, Zoning 101, we already have the Community Leadership Institute that will be under this umbrella of NPU University and neighborhood planning. The application or the enrollment will start for this in December 2020, so be on the lookout for that. The program is open, 2019, not 2020. The program is open to anyone who resides, works, or does business in an NPU. And we also have a program for youth, is civic engagement for youth. So be on the lookout for that, and I look forward to seeing you guys there.
The other program that I'm going to speak on is our NPU City Builders Grant Program. Our intent with this program is to help communities further neighborhood efforts by helping them fund local projects. So the applications for the grant program will be available in December. Start thinking about innovative community projects that will help build community-centered public spaces and promote safe and thriving neighborhoods within your NPU and the city. On the application, restrictions and rules for the grants are outlined in the grant packet. Now, our lovely visual that I don't have would have shown you a couple of pictures of some of our grant winners. We awarded $6,200 to NPU-O in the Kirkwood area. This NPU opted to update a current staple in their community. They continued development of Gilliam Park's off-leash dog park, and their focus was to create the first of their kind. So this funding went towards parts, labor, installation of a dog fountain, plumbing, fencing, benching, etc. On the other side of MLK, literally, we awarded $4,750 to NPU-I. This NPU used their funding to host their first National Night Out awareness event. The grant covered the cost of activities such as the outdoor event as well as marketing and notifications. Projects we love usually involve unconventional ideas. They're creative and they sprinkle a touch of collaboration. I'm going to let Lauren talk about one that we absolutely love.
So something that NPU NPU-D and NPU-E came together to do was to build a corner park in an unused space. They were awarded $7,900, and they came together and really had a conversation about what is the space that we have, not like how can it be utilized better. So in that space, they put public funded benches and bike racks and hammock poles, like you can put hammocks across them. And I went out there one day and there was people in the park on every single bench. Every single bench was in use, and it was a space that would not have had people in it before. And so it was really underutilized, and this grant transformed it into a place where people can be.
So we want you to, reach out to your NPU and work to find a grant that will use our grant to fund something in your community that you think will benefit everyone. If you have any questions or concerns, I have cards that you can write stuff on. Well, I guess I don't have any. Yes, sir.
No, I was on the car.
Okay, yes. And please just put your name and your contact information on it.
Samantha, you done? You have 2 questions?
No.
Oh, they
Any
raising
questions?
the cards. Okay, no. Okay, moving right along for community engagement. I hope you got an invitation to our annual holiday party. It'll be here at Douglas High School on December 10th, 2019, from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. Yes, ma'am. And these are the invitations. All right, number 9, planners reports.
Are you gonna do the other presentation?
City of Atlanta Department of Public Works, Ms. Betty. Not here, okay. Trees of Atlanta, Ms. Judy. Sorry.
Wow, you guys have a lot going on tonight, so I'm going to try to be very brief and to the point. Good evening. My name is Judy Yee. I am the Director of Outreach for Trees Atlanta. I know that many of you know our organization because we've been out in NPU-J many times, especially in Grove Park and Dixie Hills and other neighborhoods. So hopefully we are a familiar organization. But for those of you who don't know who we are, I'll give you a very brief overview. We are a nonprofit organization. Our goal is to take care of the trees in our city, and you might wonder, I have a lot to worry about. Why do I care about trees? However, trees are like good neighbors. Sometimes you don't realize what you have until they're gone. Like the neighbor who always took care of you, but silently did it, or always knew that you needed some service or some extra attention. Trees do that in our neighborhoods. And unfortunately, or fortunately, because of our city's growth, our trees are being threatened. Not only are residents being pushed out of a neighborhood, but trees are also being pushed out of neighborhoods. So what we want to do is to increase the awareness to all the NPUs that not only is housing important, as we develop the community and businesses and residents and other housing issues, we want to make sure that the housing that does get built in this community are high quality and look out for your interests and health and well-being, because trees are a critical part of the neighborhoods that you live in. Without trees, you have lower health, you have lower quality of life, your children learn less effectively, there are higher health and breathing issues. I can go on and on. So because of those issues, we do what we do. Not only do we plant trees, but we also help you remove invasives or other plants that will also harm trees in the long run. So if you have ivy or other invasive plants that are taking over a forested land, we can help you take care of that. So I'm going to give you my name and number at the end of my presentation. I'd like for you to write that down and reach out to me. The other thing that we can help you with is in the summertime, we offer job training programs for high school students because we need more young people to go into green industry, or at least know how to bring the green thoughts or sustainable ideas into the careers that they go into. So there is a paid summer job program that we sponsor every summer. And last year, we were able to hire 34 young people from the city of Atlanta. So don't forget about that. So before I leave, I want to remind you that we're going to be here on November 2nd in both District 3 and District 9 in two big planting projects called in a one-day effort we call Plant Atlanta. On November 2nd, which is a Saturday, we'll have a planting project in, can't see with the Dixie Hills at Robina Circle and Gaslight Lane for District 3. And in District 9, we'll be at Berkeley Park at Westside Waterworks, where it is our single largest day of planting trees. In one day, we'll plant about 550 trees. But in any given year, we plant about 7,000 trees in the city of Atlanta. So come and join us and learn more about why trees are so critically important to your community. So, that it? Okay, so write my information down. If you have issues, especially if tree ordinance or code issues come in the way, we are working with the city on updating the tree ordinance so that it reflects the needs of the community. My name is judy@treesatlanta.org. My phone number is 404-609-3373. Thank you.
Give the email address.
judy@treesatlanta.org.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to our liquor licensing. Chevron Food Mart, gas station. You're not presenting tonight? No, you're not. Okay, I'll let you know. I have to read this first. 1990 Donnelly Hollowell Parkway, the Chevron Food Mart. This letter was written to the zoning committee on behalf of the Grove Park Neighborhood Association President. On behalf of the Grove Park Neighborhood Association, members and residents of the Grove Park community, this letter is to request that NPU-J's leadership and body defer or table the vote for the RIA, I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly, capital DBA, Chevron Food Mart, located at 1990 Donnelly Hollowell Parkway, for a liquor license request. Due to this business being located within the Grove Park community, it was voted upon on October at the GPNA meeting that the applicants of the submitted request present their plans of property improvements, lighting and safety enhancements, as well as future neighborhood commitments for the Grove Park community prior to any vote being held at the NPU-J body meeting. The voting results are as listed below as it relates to requiring applicant to present to the Grove Park Neighborhood Association body prior to any NPU vote for a liquor licensing request. 13 in favor, 11 votes opposed, and 8 votes abstained. The next Grove Park Neighborhood Association meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 5th, 2019 at 7 p.m. Paradise Baptist Church, located at 1711 Donnelly Hollowell, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318. The zoning committee is in agreement with the Grove Park Neighborhood Association. We voted to defer this project until after RIA Capital LLC, doing business at Chevron Food Mart, has presented their plans of property improvement, lighting and safety enhancements, as well as future neighborhood commitments to the Grove Park community. After the Grove Park Neighborhood Association meeting held on November 5th, 2019 at 7 p.m. Paradise Baptist Church, Mr. T.J. Austin agreed to share the results with the zoning committee and the NPU-J executive board in writing. The zoning committee voted to defer this particular licensing, 4 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention. So tonight what we're going to do is vote to defer. It's a deferred vote. Voting to defer until after.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? All in favor, raise. If you're in favor of where it's the green Lewis Drive, Atlanta, Georgia 30314. This letter is from the Dixie Hills Civic Club Association, 172 Joe Louis Drive, Atlanta, Georgia 30318. The Dixie Hills Civic Association is writing this letter to inform the zoning committee and the NPU-J body that we are not in support of the variance for 172 Joe Louis Drive. The community voted against this variance on October 8, 2019 to have a metal garage that is currently residing on the property of 172 Joe Louis Drive. It is an eyesore to the community, and we would like for our community to remain, to keep a good perception of a warm and friendly place to live. This is not a commercial zone. We voted at the following meeting: 13 no, 0 yes, and 1 abstention. To the NPU-J body, 225 Hamilton E. Homes Drive, Atlanta, Georgia 30318. This is in regards to 172 Joe Louis Drive. Dear NPU-J body, the zoning committee voted against this variance for 172 Joe Louis Drive for the existing garage. 0 in favor, 5 against, and 0 abstentions. Now this item will be on the floor for a vote. B-19-207. If you are in favor or if you're voting for, no, the applicant's not here. Yeah. Lenise, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If the applicant is not here, can we proceed with the vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Reverend Thurston.
We have heard from all the whole community. I think we need to that vote. I move that we reject that zoning request. I put it on the motion.
Someone second, okay. All in favor?
Of being declined, right?
Of supporting Dixie Hills.
Right. In favor of the rejection, Are there any questions? Is everybody clear? Thank you.
One, two. We start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Wow. Please keep your sticks up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. Got you. 31. 31.
Okay, all against? Red. Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Motion carries.
You got two abstentions.
2 abstentions?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Okay, the next zoning review board applications, which is U1932, Z19100, and CDP 19055 are related to 671 Florence Place. This letter was addressed to the NPU-J body and zoning committee. Dear Mrs. Jones, on behalf of the Royal Park Neighborhood Association, GPNA members and residents of the Royal Park community, this letter is to request that the NPU-J leadership and body defer or table this vote for Jose Tavel or any of his representatives presenting zoning requests for the NPU-J for the property located at 671 Florence Place, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia 30318. As of today, there have been no communications from the property owners or developers to the neighborhood association in regards to the future plans of the adjacent property, Bankhead Seafood. Due to this business being located within the Grove Park community, it is important that developers make a true effort on inclusion and community engagement from, community engagement from those that will be directly impacted. We invite our residents, developers, and property owners to become fully engaged with the Grove Park Neighborhood Association and its residents. These partnerships will collectively help towards prioritizing needs and services for the Grove Park community as a whole. The next scheduled GPNA meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 5th, 2019 at 7 p.m. at Paradise Baptist Church, located at 1711 Donnelly Holloway Parkway, Atlanta, Georgia 30318. Sincerely, Mr. T.J. Austin, President. Okay, the next communication is in regards to, from the zoning committee. Dear NPU-J body, the zoning committee is in agreement with the Grove Park Neighborhood Association. We voted to table this project until after Noah Khalil and the architect Jose Tavel or any of his representatives presenting zoning and variance requests for the property located at 671 Florence Place, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia 30318. The owners or their representatives will have to present full future plans of 671 Florence Place, Atlanta, Georgia 30318 to the Grove Park Neighborhood Association. After the GPNA meeting on November 5th, 2019, Mr. Austin agreed to share the results with the Zoning Committee and NPU-J Executive Committee in writing. The Zoning Committee deferred the vote, 3 in favor, 0 against, and 2 abstentions. We are not voting against this project. We are not voting for or against this project. The vote will be deferred until after the project presenters have presented to the Grove Park Neighborhood Association on November 5th. So now, we're voting to defer. And it's 3 different applications, but it's all related to the same property, which is 671 Florence Place. U1932, Z1900, and CDP 19005. So I'll entertain a motion from the floor to defer or table.
So moved. Second.
Okay. All in favor, raise the green part of your ruling.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. I got her. 36.
Okay. Any against? Raise the red portion of your ruling. Any against?
0.
Okay. Any abstentions? Any abstentions?
0.
Okay. Motion carries. Okay, are the applicants here for the subdivision review, for review and comment only? SD 1932, SD 1933, SD 1934. And the properties are 1074 Jones Avenue Northwest, 1100 Jones Avenue Northwest, and 1999 Ruth Street. These were for review and comment only, so no vote will be taken. They're not here to review and comment, so we'll move forward. Z19-96, a vote will be required. This is a lot to read, so bear with me. This legislation creates a definition for a small discount variety store and imposes a distance requirement between small discount variety stores of 1,500 feet in the following zone districts: C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, I-Mix, I2, SPI 1, SPI 2, SPI 9, SPI 12, SPI 15, SPI 16, SPI 17, SPI 18, SPI 20, SPI 21, SPI 22, PDMU, PDOC, Cabbagetown Landmark District, Martin Luther King Jr. Landmark District, Edmond Park Historic District, Pratt Pulliam Landmark District, NC, LW, and MRC. An ordinance by Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet to amend the 1982 Atlanta zoning ordinance as amended to add section 16-29.001 to add the definition of a small discount variety store, to amend the C1, which is community business, C2 commercial services, C3 commercial residential, C4 central area commercial residential, C5 central business support, I-mix industrial mixed use district, I2 heavy industrial district, SP1 downtown special public interest district, SP2 Fort McPherson special public interest district, SPI 9 Buckhead Village District, SPI 12 Buckhead Lennox Station special public interest district, SPI 15 Lindbergh Transit Station special public interest district, SPI 16 Midtown Special Public Interest District, SPI 17 Piedmont Avenue Special Public Interest District, SPI 18 Mechanicsville Neighborhood Special Public Interest District, SPI 20 Greenbrier Special Public Interest District, SPI 21 Historic West End Adair Park Special Public Interest District, SPI 22 Memorial Drive Oakland City Cemetery Special Public Interest District, PDMU Plan Development Mixed Use District, PDOC Plan Development Office Commercial District, Cabbagetown Landmark District, Martin Luther King Jr. Landmark District, Emmons Park Historic District, Pratt Pulliam Landmark District, NC, which is Neighborhood Commercial, LW Live Work District, MRC Mixed Residential Commercial Zoning District, so as to allow a small discount variety store excuse me, use to require a 1,500 foot distance between a small discount variety store as defined by ordinance and for other purposes. Okay, what this basically says is for the, Lanice, you can correct me if I'm wrong. This ordinance is to not have so many, I guess, Family Dollars and the even the Dollar Generals, Dollar Trees within 15 feet of each other. 1,500 feet, I'm sorry, thank you, TJ. Is everybody clear? Everybody understands? Any questions? If I didn't explain it clear enough, then the planner is here, she can assist. Motion to approve. Alright, we will be voting on this Z-19-16, I'm sorry, 19-96. If you are in favor of this particular ordinance, then please raise the green part of your stick. Your ruler.
Hold them up high, please, I can see them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 26. We're at 26.
Okay, 26. And if you are against this particular ordinance, raise the red end of your stick if you are against it.
1.
Okay, we have 1. Any abstentions? Any abstentions?
0.
0. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. If we've covered everything at this time, I'll ask Reverend Thurston to please come up and conduct our election for 2020. Reverend Thurston.
Does everyone have their voting apparatus? We are not going to be uncivilized. At our last meeting, I asked those who had questions to seek those answers. Some people had to call the council person. That doesn't make sense. You ought to know your bylaws. If you don't know your bylaws, then we pass them out quite often. All right? He runs the city council. We as residents run the NPU. All right?
Amen, Reverend. Amen.
All right? Now, we never gave you a list of candidates in our last meeting. Right? Now, oh, okay. You mean some people can't hear me?
You need to put the mic, hold the mic up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Time bring by the change.
I'm so hard of hearing it. But that's all right. They're young folks too. I'm going to be shut up. The nominees for chair was Kiana Jones Green. The nominee for vice chair was Mrs. Elizabeth Thompson. Liz, where you? Treasurer, Ms. Patricia Roberts. Secretary, Ms. Rhoda Brawner. Assistant Secretary, Ms. Antoinette Sutton. Where's Ms. Sutton? Oh, she's not here. Okay, and parliamentary. I see Richard Jones is in here, but Virgil Pitt. Now, Virgil, I see it. Okay, now, how did Richard Jones' name get on here? Richard, you want to still serve in that capacity?
Take it off. Take it off.
He declines the nomination.
Oh, okay, he declined the nomination. Now, for you who don't understand parliamentary procedure, you can always have nominations from the floor. We are not chaotic caveman. We have rules and we're going to do that. So now, I think the best way to do that is to take each one of these positions, chair, and find out whether or not there's any nominations from the floor. All right?
Reverend Thurston, you got a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to run for
Huh?
I'd like to run for
You can't do that. You can't nominate yourself. You can't nominate yourself.
Why not?
No, you can't. It's against the rule.
It's against the rule.
Against the rule.
Ladies and gentlemen, now, do you know parliamentary procedure? If not, it'll have you. Make sure next time we meet, ask me for a book on parliamentary procedure. All right? This is not a self-serving situation in terms of community. You own your houses, you live here, and you want to do things right.
Mr. Thurston, I have a question.
Yes, sir. Reverend?
What you listed, was that the recommendation from
Those
the
are
nominating committee?
recommendations from the nominating committee.
Can I offer a motion, then at the point of question, then you go through your procedure of, are there anyone from the floor?
All right.
I'm here. The nominee for chair was Kiana Jones Green. There she is. Are there any nominations for Brown?
Thursday, just a point of order. I believe that you can nominate yourself.
She did last year. She
According to.
nominated herself last year.
Well, look, I'm gonna run these elections of y'all. She's already a candidate for secretary.
Now that might be
Excuse me, Reverend Thurston, that's my other question. Can the nominating committee members also be nominated for office? 'Cause I've never seen
Yes,
that
they
before.
can.
According to what procedure? That's brand new, sir.
Oh, it's brand new.
Yes, sir. With
Well,
all
we
due
did.
respect.
We did. If you think we did wrong, then you nominate somebody else for secretary.
No, I'm not opposing Ms. Bronner's nomination for
Yeah.
secretary. I'm questioning the process itself because I've never seen a situation.
Are you parliamentarian? You a certified parliamentarian?
Actually, sir, by my day job, I'm responsible for the bylaws for 27 similar bodies.
Well,
25, I'm
we're
sorry,
gonna,
similar bodies,
we're gonna.
but that's just my day job.
We're gonna do it anyway. What's your name?
Leah is my.
Leah, okay, I'm just making a point. We're gonna do these elections, we'll get it done, we can get out of here. All right? Ralston?
In regards to the nominating committee,
We can't hear you, teacher.
did the nominating committee only nominate one person per committee? I mean, per position, or did you nominate multiple people per position?
No, we nominate only one person, Ralston. One person.
Two of these names weren't even named last month. The parliamentarian candidates were not named in the last month's meeting.
Well, we are not voting, let's start nitpicking now. We are not voting on parliamentary. When we get to that, you can nitpick it, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Now, are we gonna vote on chair right now?
Yes.
I have a question.
All right.
Call for motion that we.
We still have questions.
Yeah,
This lady
the
is
question
asking a
comes after the nomination.
So
after
that's
the-
a question on the motion.
On the motion.
Her question is not a question on the motion.
What is your question, ma'am?
Okay, so I just want to be clear, so you nominated each person, so I don't have much of an option to go with anybody else but the person you nominate?
There's a space on your ballot.
So I would like to nominate T.J. Austin. May I explain my nomination?
Pardon?
May I explain my nomination?
I don't think you have to explain your nomination. However,
She should be given time to explain her nomination.
say what?
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
The nominees got their.
Look, Richard,
put
you
up-
talking
I don't know
back
why.
there,
Last month.
everybody up here talking. Hey, we can all sing together, but we can't talk together. Now, I'm gonna have some more. I'm telling you right now, all we're gonna ask you to leave. Now, what you were saying, young lady, you wanna nominate T.J. Austin for chair.
That is correct.
Okay, yeah, come on, stand up and tell us about why you nominated T.J. Austin.
Right here.
No, stand up, Austin. Turn around.
Full disclosure.
Let them look at you. Come on, young lady. Why you nominated T.J. Austin?
I am nominating T.J. Austin for several reasons. I am, and this is not a personal attack on anyone or anything, but on the process. I'm very concerned with the fact that this neighborhood planning unit has approximately, off the top of my head, maybe 7,000, 8,000 people, more than half of which reside in Grove Park, and not one person on this slate that the nominating committee chose represents Grove Park's Neighborhood Association. It is of great concern to me that a great number of the items that we're asked to vote on every single month come from Grove Park, and it is of great concern to me that a number of the people in this room reside in Grove Park, and it is of great concern to me that our nominating committee, thank you for the work that you did. I realize that all of this is volunteer service, so thank you for that.
but it concerns me that our nominating committee could not find one person to represent the residents who live in Grove Park and did not value us enough to give us a seat at the table or a voice of representation on this body. That is of concern to me. The reason that I chose TJ Austin and not some other random person that lives in Grove Park is that he has demonstrated his leadership ability by leading Grove Park to the place where we are now and guiding us under his leadership. Our neighborhood association has grown tremendously. We have a huge turnout of over 100 people at our meetings, and I think it was much smaller than that. I wasn't there then because I'm not as old at the neighborhood as other people might be. But from what I understand, there were just a handful of people meeting at Grove Park every month, and now we meet regularly. We have, under TJ's leadership, we have amassed quite a very healthy treasury due to, again, leadership. We are grateful in Grove Park for the leadership that he has provided with economic development. His expertise cannot be matched in this NPU. There isn't anyone that I know of in our NPU that is as knowledgeable about economic development as TJ is, and the place that we are moving into over the next few months is critical for the development of NPU-J. There is no other collection of neighborhoods in this city. Yes, sir, I'll wrap it up. Right. There is no other collection of neighborhoods in this city that is in the position that we are in NPU-J, period. The opportunity here is endless. The developers know it. Everybody knows it. And that's why people are coming here. And if we don't have the right leadership in place and leadership that represents Grove Park, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to end up going the route of other neighborhoods that did not have successful leadership in place. That's
right.
why I am nominating TJ Austin.
Second, TJ.
Yeah.
Second.
All right. What I actually want to do, instead of seconding a nomination, what we need to find out is, TJ, do you accept the nomination?
He does.
Yeah.
He does. He does.
Well, I know, sir. Well, Rob, let me ask TJ. He's chairman of the Grove Park, and you want to make him chairman of the NPU. Well, you have to consider his situation. Now, you see, all you other folks, be quiet, because he's the one behind the 8 ball. Make it brief.
Trust me, I will. But first, full clarity, I had no idea that this was happening tonight. But out of respect to the NPU in Grove Park, I will accept the, my term ends in Grove Park in December.
Yep.
So we have 2 years.
Okay.
So it's not.
It's not a conflict.
Ball,
all right. We have a nomination from the floor, and that is TJ Austin. You got a ballot? You got a ballot? If you don't have a ballot, that means you can't vote. All right? Now, what I'm going to do so we can expedite this, I'm going to go to the next position. No, I just will do it person by person, right? You got a ballot box?
Actually, everybody who is eligible to vote, we have a list back in the back that shows how many meetings that you've attended. If there was any question about how many meetings, excuse me, don't miss this now. If there was any question about how many meetings that you attended, we had the sign-in sheets from January, so that if you have attended at least 3 meetings, this one being inclusive. So if you've already attended 2, and this one being your 3rd meeting, you were able to vote. If you were able to vote, I gave you a pencil, a ballot, and a voting stick. So when we take the votes, he has the nominating committee list. We'll put it in this ballot box. If there are any nominees that come from the floor, you can write them in. That's also on the ballot. The write-in line is on the ballot, and you can just check that line so you can show that you're voting for the.
All right, well, you got a lot of questions, and I hope that you are satisfied.
Yes, sir, thank you very much.
Thank you. Elizabeth Thompson, Vice Chair. We're gonna get all these nominees, you're gonna vote, put them in the box. Are you bonded?
I've got the box, I'll come around, once you fill out your ballots, I'll come around to each table. I will ask each table, do I have everybody? So we can be sure that we have everybody's votes. And we won't have votes coming in later on, say, oh yeah, I forgot. You know, I'm gonna ask everybody, is this everybody? And then we'll count them up. It will be Reverend Thurston as the chair of the nominating committee. We've got Ben in the back, he's gonna be counting and I'll be counting.
Oh, okay, before I go any further, now I've been derelicting my duty by not recognizing those people who are on the nominating committee. And we appreciate their, Ms. Farrell. Freeman, where are you?
I think he left out.
Oh, okay. All right. Vice Chair, Ms. Elizabeth Thompson.
Who was that?
Stand up, Elizabeth, so you can see.
All right.
Miss Kiana has something.
Kiana?
I want to nominate Ben Norman for vice chair.
Ben Norman for Vice Chair. Ben? So we've got two.
We got three.
Three. All right, who we have? Elizabeth Thompson. Who else?
Ben Norman.
Ben Norman. And who else? Who? How many nominees we have for Vice Chair? I've got Elizabeth Thompson and Ben Norman.
Well, I've got a question. So, did you say that if you're gonna be an officer in the neighborhood next year, you could not be an officer on this?
That's correct. And I hold both offices at the same time. Okay.
We discourage that, and you can figure out why. The case that
Do you discourage it, or you're saying you can't do it?
You cannot.
How can I?
Can you handle it, Ben? That's basically what they want to know.
No, that's not what he do. He said the bylaws say that. I don't have bylaws in front of me, but Mr. Brown said that the bylaws
You
say.
cannot hold
Yeah,
an office
okay.
at the
Well,
neighborhood
I'm gonna be vice.
association and at the NPU.
Okay, I'm gonna be vice chair of these hills next year. So.
Okay, so then
Okay.
you cannot, you do not.
I do not accept the
qualify
nomination.
to be an
All right,
officer.
so Ben Norman respectfully declined the nomination. So we got one nominee, Elizabeth Thompson. Treasurer, Patricia Roberts. Patricia? Do we have any candidates nominated from the floor for the position of treasurer? Treasurer. Hearing nothing, I assume that Patricia, your name is the only one we will be voting on. Secretary.
Who is Patricia Roberts?
Oh, there she is right there. No, I'm sorry, that's all right. It's confusing sometimes. Ms. Rhoda Bronner, Secretary. Do we have any candidates nominated from the floor for the position of Secretary? There being none, we will move. Assistant Secretary Antoinette Sutton. Well, she doesn't have to, does she have to be here?
She was here last month when the nomination was made. She accepted it, so she can be on the ballot.
She can be on the ballot. And it's a secondary position, not unless we can get a candidate nominated from the floor.
How are you?
Yes, sir.
I want to nominate Rolanda Powell.
Veronica Powell?
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry.
What's going on?
Nothing, go ahead. We good.
Ms. Powell was getting ready to reject it anyway. But for those who don't know, Ms. Sutton has served in the capacity of secretary and assistant secretary in the past. So she's duly capable, and I think Mrs. Bronner needs some assistance. Okay, parliamentarian. Virgil Penny. Virgil? Now you gotta stand up. Virgil has been nominated as parliamentarian. It is very rare at NPU-J that we need a parliamentarian, but in the past, there was an occasion to need a parliamentarian. All right, we've got the slate of offices squared away, and let me just tell you what you should have on your voting ballot. And check it very carefully. I'm going to go down one. Chair. There were two nominees, Kiona Jones Green and TJ Austin. They're both here. Make your selection. Now there's a mark asking you to check beside that person's name, okay? Vice Chair Elizabeth Thompson. Ben, you are still running, right?
No.
All right, Ben, we're going to wipe you out. So Elizabeth Thompson is the only name you should have. Treasurer, Patricia Roberts is the only name you should have. Secretary, Rhoda Bronner, and Assistant Secretary, Anjanette Sutton, parliamentarian, Virgil Penny. I don't want, there shouldn't be a whole lot of conversation. All you need to do is mark it out. And, Mr. Brown, where are you?
I'm right here in the back.
Well, you got to make yourself available.
All right, available for you, sir.
All right.
Mr. Thurston. Question for clarity tonight. I didn't hear from the nominating committee that you all are presenting this as your slate.
You weren't here last night.
Right. And so tonight.
Yeah, you weren't here last week?
Last month.
Last month.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the do or die. We're supposed to vote tonight.
No, I'm not questioning that. We heard from the floor about other candidates tonight. We didn't hear about your committee slate tonight.
Heard that last
Yes,
month.
we did. We heard last month. Last month. I'm sorry. And you know, if I figured you needed one, I would have got one too.
We good.
All right.
I get everybody over here.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Excuse me. What is that?
Go ahead and count.
This is like an official. Let's clean this one off. This one is kind of. But if you have a challenge, let us finish. Let us
Like, I would understand if I could write the name, I check them out. Other than that, if I could write the name and stuff, I get you.
Yeah, we do.
anything. Okay. Anything. This off the cuff, man. I'm recording now.
Yep. I believe that if we're going to do the civic process, it has to be done right. We have to reflect the true interests of the people, and we can't have an illegitimate process in place that does not reflect the true voice of the people.
Okay.
I'm Antonio Brown. I'm the Atlanta City Councilman for District 3.
Hey.
For the officers, Jones Green, 23, TJ Austin, 10, Elizabeth Thompson, 33, Patricia Roberts, 33, Rhoda Barna, 30, Assistant Secretary, 33, Parliamentarian Virgil Penny. So as of now, we've got Kiana Jones Green as chair, Elizabeth Thompson as treasurer, Patricia Roberts, secretary, Rhoda Brana, assistant secretary, Antoinette second, and our parliamentarian, Virgil Penny, I'm sorry. It's been a long night. I'm going to turn this back over to
Do we need to accept it? Do we need to vote and accept it?
I just want to thank you all for this opportunity, and I'm here to serve. So, and I welcome, everybody's help and support. Thank you so very much. Thank you. And please don't forget the holiday party.
Everybody leaves out, I don't know if it's clear or not, but we are gonna meet second week in September. We're gonna have a get-together in September. I know what this means. I meant December 10th. We're gonna have a get-together, just to get to know each other. I believe there's gonna be something to live. There's gonna be music. Right here, this multi-purpose. Thank you, Princess. I will put it out on Facebook, but it'll be December 10th at 7 o'clock. Right here.
Yeah, I am.